Hello young friends, welcome to today's video. We are now going to read an interesting science fiction story by the author Isaac Asimov. It is called The Fun They Had. Have you ever thought of how things will be a great many years from now? In our current lesson, we shall be reading a story that takes place in the future, when things will be very different from the way they are at present. These stories imagine the future for us, especially by describing the kind of science and technology that might come to be invented by that time. They fall into the genre of science fictions. I'm sure you have all seen a lot of science fiction films, including extremely famous ones like The Terminator and Interstellar. So, how about learning a little bit about our author, Isaac Asimov? I'm sure you're all curious about a mind that can dream up new realities for the future. Isaac Asimov was an American writer and professor of biochemistry at Boston University. He was popularly known for his works of science fiction and popular science. Asimov is one of the most prolific science fiction writers ever, with over 500 books to his credit, both as author and editor. He also published a lot of letters and postcards. His most famous works include his Galactic Empire series, the Robot series, and the Foundation series. The Fun They Had is a science fiction that first appeared in a children's newspaper in 1951. It was reprinted in February 1954 issue of the Magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction. The story The Fun They Had is set in the future, when books and schools as we know them will possibly not exist, thanks to the increased progress of technology. The story transports us to such a time, in the year 2157, on 17th of May. Even in 2157 AD, schools retain that charm which enthralls young minds. We are first introduced to the character of Margie. She's a sweet little girl and a regular diary writer. She's amazed by the fact that her dear friend Tommy has discovered a book. She fondly remembers that her grandfather once described how every storybook used to be printed on paper once. 13-year-old Tommy and 11-year-old Margie are accustomed to telebooks. They are pretty surprised at the concept of school as mentioned in the newly found book. Margie is schooled out of her own house, and there is a mechanical teacher giving her lessons. A big screen displays questions, and they have a slot where answers need to be written in a punch code. The poor girl hates this part the most. More so from the time she has been failing her geography tests. Margie's mother gets really disturbed with her poor performance and takes her to the county inspector. The little round red-faced county inspector with a box of tools understands that Margie's poor performance is not her fault. The mechanical teacher is going too fast in its lessons. No wonder Margie is having trouble catching up. The inspector slows down the geography section of the mechanical teacher. The teacher is now adjusted to the level and the pace of an average 10-year-old. Do you recognize what the inspector is doing? In technological terms, this is called adaptive learning, where the material given to children are adapted to their level of skill and learning so that they learn at their own individual pace. It is a marvel that Isaac Asimov could foresee this technology decades ago. After discovering the book, both kids are widely astonished at the stationary words that refuse to flow on or disappear off the pages. They discuss how actual human teachers used to teach in special buildings called schools and how all the kids went there for learning. However, Margie's mother holds the opinion that a teacher has to be uniquely customized to fit in with the learning requirement of every individual child. At the end of the story, Margie continues with her regular classes arranged at her home. She feels bored in this setup and tries to imagine how a child used to have fun in the olden days. They would go to the schoolyard, sit together in the classroom, and happily go back home at the end of the day. Previously, Margie has been shown as someone not too open to the idea of having a human teacher. She has had doubts that a human being could ever match a mechanized teacher in teaching skills. But now, she too longs to go to a school with children of her age and to learn from human teachers. From this story, we get to know the positive side of advanced technology. But Asimov also shows us at what cost this technological progress has been achieved. When we become highly and absolutely dependent on technology, we are disconnected from human beings. Margie and Tommy live in isolation, suffering the loss of human contact. They have no peers who can act as their playmates and companions. Neither do they have teachers who can also act as guides and counselors, apart from fulfilling their primary role of teaching. We have now reached the end of today's video lesson. Do you now understand and appreciate your school, your dear teachers, and your fun-loving friends a little more after reading the story? Don't forget to watch the recap video for this lesson for a quick revision anytime. See you in the next video. Happy watching!